All right, we still have some folks logging on, but I'm going to get us started since we have a half an hour. Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to our Beyond the series. Today's presentation will focus on food insecurity and kinship families. We're partnered today by Hunger Solutions New York. We have Misha Marvel on the line, Child Nutrition Program Specialist with Hunger Solutions New York, and also Ryan Johnson, the Associate Director of New York State Kinship Navigator. My name is Ray Glazer. I'm the Program Director of the Kinship Navigator, and I'm going to talk today a little bit about what Kinship Care is and how we can partner with Hunger Solutions New York. Before I get us started, just a quick housekeeping. We want to thank the Times Union for their media sponsorship of our 4-part spring series focused on the intersections between kinship care and our allied professions. Their support was instrumental in expanding the reach of our webinars, which feature food pantries, school superintendents, social workers, and now Hunger Solutions New York today. Thank you very much. We've got Ann Kirkerito on the line today from the Times Union. Ann, if you'd like to say a word, we're here for you.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I just wanted to say that the Times Union is proud to be a sponsor of this event, and we realize how important this is to the community and the surrounding schools and all of the caregivers who are working to make it successful for these children and themselves. So thank you very much for allowing us to be here today. We're happy to be your sponsor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your support ongoing. It's been fantastic. So just one more order of business before I get started. We do have everybody muted on the line today as we go through our presentation. If you want to enter any questions into the chat feature, we'll be happy to address those at the end. This also will be recorded, and we will send out our slide deck as well as the video for today's presentation. So I'd like to give you a little bit of an introduction to Kinship Care. For those of us not aware, Kinship Care refers to non-parents, mostly grandparents, relatives, and non-relatives known as fictive kin who provide full-time care and control for kids in their homes when parents are not able to parent. Most kin that we work with are maternal grandparents. There's over 50% are grandparents, but we also do see aunts, uncles, adult siblings, and as I said, non-relatives that could be family, friends, godparents, neighbors, and they're called fictive kin. Kinship is usually based on math, we like to say. In every household, there are 2 parents, mom and dad. A lot of kinship households that we deal with, dad is not in the picture for one reason or another. Mom is raising the child on her own. So the 1 + 1 = 2, you've taken away one parent, and then something happens to mom. She cannot care for the kids. In most instances, it's her mom that steps in to care for them. But as I said, it can be any other type of relative. We do see that kids come into care with kinship caregivers for many of the reasons that you would see them end up in foster care with strangers: abuse, neglect, parental substance abuse, mental health, death, incarceration, military deployment. Rarely good reasons why kids come into care with kinship caregivers. The kids have a lot of trauma coming into care, usually high ACE scores, adverse childhood experiences, and coming into care with a relative or family friend is usually much higher for stability and permanency purposes for the children involved because they're coming into care with somebody that they already know, where there's family bonds. When we look at kinship care across New York State, there's roughly about 195,000 children with caregivers in the state. This is a very rough number. It does fluctuate. Some kids come into care for a couple of months. Some kids come into care for 18 years. Over half of caregivers have had children in their home for 5 years or longer. Half of them have had contact with Child Protective Services. When they come into contact with Child Protective Services, there are many options for families, but many of them do not end up in the formal foster care system. Many of them are caring for kids in what we call informal kinship care. So they're being used as a resource, but not given the same supports in terms of preventive services and monetary services that they would as kinship foster parents. On the left-hand side of the slide, I'll just say very quickly, you can see about 1 in 11 children will live in a kinship home at some point during their childhood. 1 in 5 children, Black children, will live in a kinship home. About half the kids that are in kinship care are under the age of 6, and roughly a quarter between 6 and 11, 11, 17. Next slide, Ryan. What we usually see when kids come into care and they call our services at the Navigator, which Ryan's going to talk about a little bit later on in the presentation, is they have 3 main concerns. First of all, they want to make sure that they have decision-making authority over children in their care, some form of legal permanency, whether it's custody, guardianship, direct custody, kin gap, adoption, the ability to make decisions for the children. They want to make sure if their kids are school age that they have the ability to enroll them into school, both in terms of being able to make educational decisions and actually enroll them into the school district. And they also want to make sure that they have financial stability and are able to care for the children. The Navigator, we give caregivers information on all of these facets. Financial stability is really a big one. We talk to them about access to financial assistance grants called the non-parent grant. And then we also talk to them based off of that grant about eligibility for Medicaid and food stamps. I want to turn it over to Misha from Hunger Solutions New York to talk a little bit more about that need for access to nutritious food that we definitely see within our kinship caregivers, a need for them and their children to have access to this. Thanks, Misha.
Thank you so much, Ray. I've served as a child nutrition program specialist for about the past decade with Hunger Solutions New York. But my first decade with the organization, my work was mostly focused on older adults. And so I'm just so very happy to be here with you all today and share just a little bit about some of the programs that could really help the families that you serve. Ryan, thank you. Can you thank you? To give you a sense of our organization, if you're not familiar already, Hunger Solutions New York is a statewide nonprofit anti-hunger organization. Our work focuses on expanding access to and participation in federal nutrition assistance programs, including SNAP, the not so new name for food stamps, WIC, school meals, summer meals, after school and childcare meals, and most recently the pandemic EBT program. And to that end, we conduct statewide outreach, provide technical assistance, and conduct legislative and administrative advocacy to strengthen and expand the reach of the programs. And those of us who are involved with outreach know that people may need to hear and see and read things multiple times from multiple trusted messengers before they reach out and connect with nutrition programs. And so I'm just very well aware and very grateful that you may well be the trusted messenger that helps a family access the food they need. For this slide, in terms of the consequences of food insecurity, there are serious consequences of food insecurity for a range of health and academic outcomes, including literacy. As you may very well know, in adults with food insecurity, rates of diseases like depression, diabetes, hypertension, and high cholesterol, as well as generally being in poor or fair health, are higher. Among children, food insecurity is associated with higher odds of having asthma, anemia, and fair or poor health. And it is associated with a higher risk of cognitive issues, aggression, anxiety, and depression. While we can't go into a complete exploration of the data in this short presentation, I've included some hyperlinked reports at the bottom of several of the slides where you can learn more. Ryan, next slide, please. Many New Yorkers are struggling with hunger right now, and COVID-19 has exacerbated that longstanding crisis. Even before the pandemic, more than 1 in 10 households in New York were food insecure, including 1 in 6 households with children. Those rates increased substantially in 2020, and though they're starting to show some signs of recovery as we look at projections for 2021, we're still seeing 1 in 5 households with children likely to experience food insecurity this year. It's important to note that these overall rates of food insecurity do not tell the whole story. Rates of food insecurity among Black and Latinx households are far higher than for white households. Hunger has always been a racial equity issue, and the disproportionate impacts of the pandemic further exacerbated those inequities. On the next slide, for example, among older adults. And when I say older adults, I'm speaking of people age 60 and over. Overall, 13.5% of older adults faced food insecurity last year, which was a dramatic increase of nearly 60% from pre-COVID levels. But when you look deeper, food insecurity rates among Black and Hispanic older adults were double that of white older adults. The next slide has some good news. Is that we have highly effective and efficient federal nutrition programs that can provide sustainable food access for families, and that they're built to be responsive to changing demand like what we've seen during the pandemic. I've highlighted a few key figures here that demonstrate the substantial impact of these programs. Feeding America estimates that SNAP provides 9 meals for every 1 meal provided through their network of food banks and pantries across the country. And every $1 in SNAP benefits generates about $1.50 in local economic growth. And so we know these programs are invaluable for families and local economies, but they remain undertapped in New York. I'm going to walk through over the next couple minutes 3 specific programs that can benefit the families you serve, and identify some key ways you can help connect families with these valuable supports. So first off is SNAP, because it's our country's largest and cornerstone anti-hunger program. SNAP helps mostly working families, senior citizens, and people with significant disabilities. SNAP has been issuing electronic benefits on a debit-like card for over 10 years now, since before the what we all used to know as food stamps. A person can use their EBT card like cash to buy food that they choose at grocery stores, farmers markets, and other retailers. Eligibility and benefit levels are based on household size and income and other factors. SNAP really works as it's intended to. Namely, it expands and contracts as the economy does. And so, for example, about 200,000 more New Yorkers are getting benefits now compared to right before the pandemic began. And the monthly benefit amount increased from last February of 2020 at $139 per person per month to this most recent January, a few months ago, to $223 per person per month as an average benefit. Next slide, please. Thanks. New York State provides SNAP benefits to more older New Yorkers than any other state, yet we know that a few 100,000 may be eligible and not yet getting benefits. Many older adults wrongly believe that they can't use other nutrition assistance programs if they're on SNAP, and vice versa. Eligibility for other nutrition assistance programs is not affected by SNAP participation, and many older adults need and they should access more than one program. Next slide, thanks. To help increase SNAP participation among older adults, New York State recently introduced, or will be introducing, a simplified SNAP-only application for people age 60 and older and those with a disability. This new 2-page application is part of a larger effort that's known as the Elderly Simplified Application Project, or ESAP. And the goal is to simplify the SNAP application and recertification process for these very vulnerable populations. I have it here. Rollout is expected later this summer, so please stay tuned for more information and outreach opportunities. We will be preparing some resources and have pieces available on our website and on our social media channels. Next slide, thanks. USDA and New York State have long recognized that many people may not know that they're eligible for SNAP, and they may need some extra help completing the application for SNAP benefits. NOAP, the Nutrition Outreach and Education Program, is a nationally recognized SNAP outreach program and is in place in most counties in all boroughs. We hope that you are already connected with your local NOAP coordinator, but just in case, you can find them at foodhelpny.org. NOAP services, I just briefly listed them here. They are always free and always confidential. These are really local SNAP experts, and they work to make sure that applicants get the benefit that they are fully entitled to. This would be especially helpful for Kinship Care families. And the next slide. The next program I'm going to talk about is WIC. About half of all children born in the US receive WIC. It provides healthy food, nutrition advice from registered dietitians and referrals to other services to women. And I've highlighted here for you, children under the age of 5. You may know WIC from when food items were printed on a paper check and a family had to buy everything on their monthly food package all at once. That is no more. The really good news is that since the summer of 2019, a person's WIC food package is loaded on an eWIC debit card, and they can use that card as often as they need, whether it's in one trip or several over the course of the month. This slide shows a photo of an eWIC card on the left, and then the main screen of the free New York State WIC to go app on the right. And of course, this all makes the shopping process much, much easier and more convenient for families. And in addition, due to the pandemic, local WIC clinics are allowed to provide services remotely over the phone or video chat, and they're loading the eWIC cards remotely as well. And so this is just a huge help for families right now. And now the next slide, thanks. And the main reason why I'm mentioning WIC to you is that it is not well known that caregivers like grandparents, step-parents, foster parents, and other guardians can apply for WIC on behalf of the children in their care. To get WIC, a child must simply live in New York State and have income below a certain amount, 185% of the federal poverty line, or get benefits from SNAP, Medicaid, or TANF. And a person's immigration status is never asked for or considered. This has been a great concern for some communities. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. Next slide, thanks. Even before COVID, many eligible people were not participating, especially children ages 3 and 4. And to give you a sense of what WIC looks like in your area, I've included this coverage rate map from the State Department of Health. Counties in green have at least 50% participation. Counties in red have less than 30% participation. And we can see that the vast majority of counties in our state had less than 40% participation among eligible New Yorkers in 2019. So the next slide, because we have far to go to ensure eligible children are connected with WIC, especially knowing that the need has risen post-COVID-19. As you're able, we encourage you to use some of the outreach materials to help direct families to their local WIC clinics. In the wichelpny.org resource center, there are a variety of different outreach pieces and fact sheets, including materials specifically targeted to caregivers. And then before we move on, the last point I want to share is that thanks to the American Rescue Act that was just signed into law last month, starting in June, children and then moms, but for this audience, children in kinship care families or children who are participating in WIC will get a boost in the monthly fruit and vegetable portion of their WIC food package, which basically triples what they get now, and it will make it $35 per month per person. This monthly benefit boost is expected to happen June and July and August and September. It's a 4-month temporary boost, and it will help these kids eat many more healthy fruits and vegetables over the summer. Next slide, thanks. And then the last program, the third program I'll mention that may very well impact kinship caregivers is Pandemic EBT. This is a new program Congress authorized in response to COVID-19. It is providing EBT food benefits to all kids who qualify for free reduced price school meals and are learning remotely. You might recall that eligible families received $420 last year in pandemic EBT benefits to make up for the missed school meals during the school closures last spring. The very good news is that PEBT was extended for this school year, and it's been expanded to serve children under the age of 6 who participate in SNAP. Those benefits haven't gone out yet, but New York state plan for issuing those benefits was approved by USDA, and now New York can start moving forward with issuing those benefits. It is a huge project. There's around $2.2 billion that will be going out to 2.2 million children across the state. And it's going to take some time to get those out, probably several months from now, but I want to share our PEBT website and just give you the heads up that those benefits are coming and will be a great help to families. So next slide. I've gone over a lot of information in this short time, and you might be wondering, what can I do? It's really simple. We just ask that you consider connecting with the resources that can easily help you help your community, and share even just a little of what you've learned today with colleagues so that they can do the same. And then the last slide, of course, you can always connect with me directly. We have a newsletter subscribe link on our website, and we are all very active on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram with posts that you could easily reshare on your channels just to help with some outreach efforts. And then, before I turn it over to Ryan, just thank you so much for taking your time today and for all that you do to support your community members. We just hope that you consider us as partners in your work. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Misha. And we really appreciate Hunger Solutions New York letting you come and talk about all these great resources. I'm Ryan Johnson. I'm the Associate Director of the Kinship Navigator. And, Ray kind of led off the discussion about what Kinship Care is. And so many of you on the call are curious as to what we can do to make sure that Kinship caregivers are getting access to these valuable resources that Misha talked about, as well as other benefits and resources that are available to them. So the Kinship Navigator exists so that those folks have an opportunity to learn more about those programs. So what the Kinship Navigator does specifically, we specialize in information, referral, education, and advocacy. So on our website, which I will be showing you in just a moment, are legal fact sheets. Legal fact sheets, we are basically information, 1 page or 2 page or multiple page, depending on the issue, informational guides that caregivers can use, that professionals can use in order to learn about things related to kinship care. So whether that is applying for benefits, and we have a guide on how to fill out the public assistance application, or how to enroll a child in school or do a custody application. We have what we call legal fact sheets on our website available. We also, the Kinship Navigator covers all 62 counties in New York State with resources. So our website is full of kinship specific resources, as well as other general resources that kinship families might be interested in taking advantage of. And we have a helpline that operates Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Where professionals and kinship caregivers can speak directly with a Kinship Navigator staff person to get access to the needed information and referrals. There are case management programs throughout the state. There's 14 of them located all over the state of New York. They cover 25 counties with case management service specifically for kinship caregivers. We do refer if a caregiver calls a navigator, or a professional referring a caregiver calls a navigator, we'll make sure you know about those programs that can serve you on the ground. There are support groups available throughout the state as well. All of the case management programs offer support groups, and then some local support groups are operated by Office for the Aging and other local agencies. Ray mentioned earlier, legal permanency is always an issue in the kinship world. We do have resources related to legal referrals for pro bono and low bono. So if you have a kinship caregiver who needs access to at least speaking with a legal professional, we can make sure that they get connected as best we can. We do education. So this is our fourth kind of like lunch and learn. We're calling it Beyond the. And we really thank the Times Union for their support of this educational series here. We do hope to continue it moving forward, continuing to partner with other presenters to talk about issues that matter to kinship care. So we're looking forward to that. We do have an online video archive. Has over a dozen videos that range in length from 3 minutes to an hour or 2 hours, where we talk about kinship issues. We can break them down, things like kinship guardianship and kinship foster care, how to apply for benefits. So you can check out our website for those videos. We also do legislative education. A lot of the laws that pertain to parents oftentimes as caregivers don't pertain to kinship caregivers. And so we try to make sure that the legislature is aware of gaps that overlook the kinship care population as they're caring for children, to make sure that they have the ability to make decisions for children in their care. We do case-by-case advocacy for any kinship caregiver that comes across our door. If they need special assistance, we have the staff to help them do that. You can see our helpline is here and our website is here. If a caregiver were to call our helpline, we want to make sure that they're connected to financial and other benefits, assistance that they're eligible for, as well as ensuring that they have some kind of legal permanency, whether that's a court order or some kind of parental designation. We do, again, refer to local kinship services and local DSSs, and we have a centralized information database. This is our website. I would encourage you to go check it out. Our website or our phone number is in the upper left-hand corner. If you prefer to chat with somebody instead of calling, down in the bottom right-hand corner of our browser, you'll see that there's a chat live that's available during the hours of our helpline. Again, that's 10 to 4, Monday through Friday. We have a program called Virtual Case Assistance, in which we offer kind of more hand-holding, more case management style services instead of just our basic kind of information and referral, which happens for the majority of the state. But for the counties that you see here, we offer virtual case assistance, and any client that calls into our helpline will be referred to our virtual case assistant who covers this region. They can help with facilitated benefit applications and referrals, and there's extensive follow-up for up to 6 months. So it really is more of a case management service, and we are asking anybody who takes advantage of virtual case assistance to participate in a study being done by the Center for Human Services Research that's looking at the efficacy of our work with families to ensure that it's helping them. If you'd like to refer a kinship caregiver to the Kinship Navigator, we have a process called the permission to contact form. It takes the onus off of the caregiver to reach out to us. Certainly, if you give them a brochure, if you'd like brochures for your program, we'd be happy to ensure that you have those. Just put it in the chat, we'll send some out. But the referral form kind of takes the onus off of the caregiver. This is what the form looks like. If you're a professional working with a kinship caregiver that you'd like to refer to us, we recommend using this. Essentially, we're getting permission to contact the caregiver from the Kinship Navigator. So if they agree, we will contact them at the time of day that they prefer and the method that they prefer, email, phone, mail, however they prefer, to give them information about benefits and resources that are available to them. This form is located on our website. It's on the homepage. Again, this presentation will go out to everybody, so you'll have access to all these hyperlinks within the PowerPoint, as Misha mentioned. So you can also download the form here at this link. Again, if you would like hard copy brochures, posters, other materials about the Kinship Navigator and our services, go ahead and throw it in the chat and we'll make sure that happens for you. I'm not sure if there are any questions or comments. Yes, I see a question about whether we will be sharing. We certainly will. Here is our contact information. If you have any additional questions moving forward, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are a resource both for the professionals who serve this community as well as for kinship caregivers directly. So we're very grateful for Misha for coming and talking about nutrition, and we're again grateful to Anne and the Times Union for their support. And Ray, I'll turn it over to you for a closing thought.
Thanks so much, Ryan. Again, just to piggyback off Ryan, thank you so much for our partner today, Misha. Thank you, the Times Union. Thank you all for attending our series. We appreciate it. Next month, we will be featuring AFFCNY as we celebrate National Foster Care Month. So look forward to some more details coming out regarding that. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to email any of us, and there will be the slides and a video of today's presentation coming your way. So thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.